Hi boys and girls, we're going to do our science for Wednesday, June 3rd. You will need your science book and a piece of paper or your notebook that you were using yesterday for science. Let's go ahead and get that ready first. Since we did the review test yesterday, we are done with chapter 5. So now we're going to move on to chapter 6, lesson 1. So go ahead and get your paper ready. Too close. There we go. Write chapter 6, lesson 1, and the short date. And then a number 1 for question 1. Pause it if you need time to catch up. Okay, so chapter 6 is going to be about observing the weather. So here's some questions. Focus standard questions. Just a second. We're on page 175. Chapter 6, Observing the Weather. So it says, what is weather? How hot or cold is the weather? How can you measure rain? And what does the sun do? So those would be our focus questions in chapter 6. Okay, if I turn the page, you zoom out so you can see. Here's our introduction to the weather. How can you tell about the weather? Weather. There's a wind vane. Some people have a wind vane at the top of their house or on the top of their barn. And it points in the direction that the wind is blowing. Then we have a thermometer. A thermometer can tell you the temperature. Like when you're sick, your mom or dad or someone that takes care of you probably uses a thermometer to take your temperature. We can also use a thermometer to tell how hot or cold the weather is. And then over here, we have a rain gauge. If you stick the rain gauge in the grass when it's raining, it'll fill up with water, and that can tell you how much rain came down when it was raining. Pretty interesting. Okay, next page. There's a directed inquiry. You can make your own wind vane. If you have some Play-Doh and a straw and a piece of tape and a paper plate, you can make your own wind vane. Here's the read science, but for sake of time, we're going to skip over that and go straight to lesson 1. Okay, lesson 1. What is weather? Get a reading finger. Weather changes from day to day. Weather is what it is like outside. Weather may be windy or still. Ooh, the other day it was really windy and my daughters and I went out front to fly kites. Weather may be wet or dry. Weather may be hot or cold too. You will learn how weather changes from season to season in chapter 7. Okay, so seasons is in chapter 7, but we're still in chapter 6 learning about the weather. A windy day is great for flying a kite. Have you ever flown a kite? Pretty fun. Okay, next page. Windy weather. Wind is moving air. Look at the trees in the picture. How can you tell which way the wind is blowing? Can you see how the palms of the palm trees are blowing this way? So you can tell that's the way the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing hard. You can use a wind vane. You can use a weather tool. The weather tool is a wind vane. A wind vane points into the wind. Look at the wind vane. The arrow points to where the wind is coming from. Okay, so I was confused on the other page of the wind vane. I said where it points where the wind is going. I think that's what I said. But it actually points to where the wind is coming from. This is an N for north. So the wind is coming from the north. Okay, number 1. What is weather? So let's go back to the beginning where it told us what weather is. Weather is what it is like outside. Okay, let's write that down. Remember to use your neat handwriting. Capital W for the beginning of the sentence. Weather spot the TH. Weather is what it is like, or how it feels. Weather is what it is like outside. Okay, then we're going to put a number 2 for number 2. If you need time to write the sentence, pause it and push play when you're ready. Okay, let's go to number 2. What does a wind vane show you? So right here it was talking about wind vanes. You can use a weather tool. The weather tool is a wind vane. A wind vane points into the wind. The arrow points to where the wind is coming from. So a wind vane shows you where the wind is coming from. A wind vane. I see that bossy E. Makes A say A and vane. A wind vane shows where, and I see some H brothers, SH, WH. A wind vane shows where the wind is coming from. That could be helpful when you're trying to fly a kite. It's important to know which way the wind is coming from so you can put your kite in the right direction so it will actually fly. A wind vane shows where the wind is coming from. Okay, that's all the signs for today. When you're finished, take a picture and leave it for me in Class Dojo or Google Classroom.